Hey, welcome back to my channel, IndieAuthor Jill, where I read and review self-published books. And today we're looking at The Tales of Arcana Fortune by Hafsa Jawad. And I cannot believe how much I enjoyed this book. So I was already intrigued by the thing on the back, the blurb, where it talks about, so as I've said before, the choosing of this book didn't get filmed, but it says, 7 Nights, 7 Tales. Young healer Serena Rose has always dreamed of fairy tales, but the chances of finding true love, living alone in the cottage by the woods, are slim. Instead, she spends her days chasing down mischievous woodland critters, brewing tonics, and taking care of her family's ancient records of fairy tales, many of which have been outlawed in the kingdom of Lumina, where she resides. However, her quiet life is upended when she is approached by a dark-haired stranger searching for a book in her family's collection, The Tales of Arcana Fortune. In between searching for more information on the book and fighting their budding attraction, they accidentally free a malicious immortal sealed with an ancient spell. Cursed to be trapped in a different fairy tale each night, Serena must find a way through her trials, all the while trying not to lose her life, her freedom, and her heart. And let's be honest, when it comes to fairy tales and whatnot, the heart is never safe. You're never going to not lose your heart. So that was a foregone conclusion. But I really liked, as per usual, none of the main characters are my favorite character. My favorite character in the book is actually Nuts the squirrel. And I want him to be in my backyard, please. And thank you. I have plenty of ribbons to give him. So Nuts is a squirrel that lives in the woods behind Serena's house. And he likes to steal trinkets, belt buckles, hairbrushes, mirrors. Like, he's a very large squirrel. And at one point he even takes off with one of her aunt's precious journals. Like I said, he's my favorite character. I like Grimm. I like how complex he is. He kind of reminds me of Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time, the TV show Once Upon a Time, because he just plays so many different roles, which, and he's not playing the roles in the, it's a lot like with Rumpelstiltskin, where he is certain people in his in the Once Upon a Time universe. And Grimm is the same way. There's other times when he's just forced to play a part of the story that Serena's in, because when Serena gets cursed to take part in the in these fairy tales, before the curse can take a firm hold, he steps up and invokes the right of accompaniment, which means he will also get sucked into the stories with Serena, and he can't really help her per se. He has his own role in the stories to play, and like, even if he had the answer, he is somehow blocked from giving her the answer. She still has to figure it out all on her own. But as they go through, like, they're both, like, he's trying to keep her at arm's length, and she's trying to get closer to him, because in the kingdom of Lumina, fairy tales are forbidden, and they're bringing in, you know, clerks and clerics and priests and whatnot, who are basically condemning anyone who gives too much credence to the fairy tales monikers of witch. And they are treated much as you might expect if you are condemned as a witch. Then you are treated very much like what you would expect, like from the Salem witch trials or whatever. And on top of being kind of ostracized from the townspeople, she's also feeling kind of ostracized from her own family. She has a mother and a father and 3 brothers, and her brothers are perfect obedient children. They are exactly what her mother and father want them to be. And then there's Serena, and she's just like, I'm gonna do my own thing and be my own person. I have no idea who that person is, but I'm gonna find out. And her parents are just like ripping their hair out trying to figure out how to control or like guide this wild young girl. Her father is a little bit more lenient about it. Like, he really doesn't care one way or the other. He knows his daughter, he's like, she's gonna do what she's gonna do. She's a free spirit. You know, Serena does what Serena does. But her mom is concerned for her because she's very much like her mom's sister, Serena's aunt. She's very in touch with she's very concerned about the books and taking care of the books that her aunt and her ancestors have collected and taken care of. She's, but her aunt is very reclusive. Her aunt pretty much shuts out everybody in the world. And what her mom doesn't want is for Serena to have that. She wants Serena to know that you can live at the cottage. You can take care of the books and do your potions and everything. But that's not all that life has to offer. You can do all of that plus have friends, have a relationship, meet people, travel. The cottage is always going to be there waiting for you to come back to. And it makes sense because the cottage is actually protected by a kind of magic where nobody can get through the woods unless the woods allow it. Like, the woods protect the cottage because of the fairy magic that is around it. And it was a lot of fun to watch Serena get sucked into these stories and find herself through these stories that were so familiar to me. So the first one is The Tale of the Ice Queen. The second one, and in that one, the story has already played out, and it's just what happens next. A part of the story that was never really told because you only follow Greta and Kai, and then once their story is finished, like, the story's over. But the Ice Queen continues to exist. And then you have, after that, it's Rumpelstiltskin. And I'm not going to tell you the roles that Grimm plays in any of these because that would be too spoilery, and it's so much fun watching the different roles they put, that Lore, the bad guy, puts him in. But yeah, so the second one is Rumpelstiltskin, and then after that it's Beauty and the Beast, which I feel like was the easiest one for her to for her and Grimm to get through. It doesn't hurt that they had some talking birds to kind of guide them in the right direction. Then what I thought was going to be the hardest one was after that it was Snow White, and that one, as Serena says, the stories are getting darker, and after that it's what's the next one? Red Riding Hood. And then it's The Little Mermaid. And then there's a tale that the author herself has just made up for the sake of the story. which I thought was nice to just kind of throw her own fairy tale, a fairy tale of her own making into the mix, and I really enjoyed that and kind of seeing how that played out. What I liked about them was that they, even though they followed along the same storylines, there were little bits of twists and turns, the author's own take on these. There are two factions that are really wanting Grimm and Serena to succeed, and that is the fairy and the fairy queen Nerida, and the ancient ones, or the old ones, the five who are made up of folklore people themselves. There's the Ghost Knight, there's King Arthur, there's the Red Maiden, or Red Riding Hood. There is Lord Jack of the from Jack and the Beanstalk, and then there is Lady Wild, and she isn't taken from one of our Americanized stories. She's taken from an Irish folklore, which I really appreciated. And all these different fairy tales like come clashing together in this one perfect little story that was really enjoyable. I had so much fun reading it and seeing these fairy tales through Hafsa's perception and her take on them. And like I said, it was just so much fun, especially her ongoing battle with Nuts the squirrel, and then Grimm comes along and he's just as much embroiled in this battle with this squirrel. And at first he thinks Serena's nuts. He's like, you're crazy. You're fighting with a squirrel. You're talking to a squirrel. You're arguing with a squirrel. You understand this, right? But it doesn't take long for him to be in the same boat where he's sitting there actively, he's arguing with it. He's calling it a coward. Then he's like trying to make amends and offering him treasures. And like I said, I love Nuts. I kind of wish the rabbits could have gotten a little bit more, like they could have had more interaction with the rabbits a little bit more. As someone who has a garden, who has been fiercely trying to protect it from the stupid cute little furballs, I completely understand where Serena is coming from. There's a point where like my husband and I, we actually planted marigolds in our garden, in our herb garden, to kind of deter the rabbits, and the marigolds bloomed beautifully. They came out in spades. I'm not sure if the marigolds kept the rabbits from our tomatoes or if the herbs around the tomatoes did the trick, but for whatever reason, the rabbits did kind of detour away from our garden this past season. The season before that, the marigolds did nothing. The herbs didn't do much. I don't know what changed this year, or this past season, where they were a little bit more cooperative with what gardening books have to say, but there's a point where a rabbit is actually eating a marigold blossom in the garden, and Serena is like, okay, the book said that the marigolds were supposed to repel you beasts, but here you are eating them. So either the author has never had a garden of their own, or you heathens will absolutely devour anything. And all I can say is purple clover. Plant a purple clover garden away from the garden. This is the garden you want for yourself. Way over here, plant some purple clover, and the deer and the rabbits will go to there and leave your garden alone, hopefully. Also, it might not help with deer, but fences. We ended up having to put a fence around one of our large gardens just to keep things out of it. Did it help? Yeah, it kept the deer and the rabbits out, but not the birds, because birds don't care about fences, obviously. So we didn't end up with any strawberries this year. Also, squirrels, like nuts, don't care about fences. They'll scurry right on over them. And apparently the groundhog, I don't know how the groundhog got in there. I honestly don't. He is a fairy. Rodney, we have a groundhog living under our shed. I named him Rodney. My husband told me not to name him. I named him anyway. It's not like I feed him. I do not give him any food. At all. He's just there. But it just felt kind of rude not to give him a name. Just like I named the feral cat Ginger. You know what I don't name? The mice. They don't stay long enough to be named. Why? Because Ginger exists. Ginger is out there doing her job. Rodney doesn't get a whole lot of free reign, because when I let the chickens out, they chase him. He apparently doesn't like the chickens. He's afraid of them, which I'm perfectly fine with. I think it's hilarious. Skunks also don't care about fences. Skunks will climb right over those as well. So I totally I totally relate to her fighting creatures for her garden. There's not a whole lot I can say about this book that I haven't said already. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a fun fantasy. It's a fun romantasy. There's very little spice. So if you're someone who likes spicy romantasy, there's like one low spice scene you might get kind of, you'd be disappointed in. But if you just like fantasy, you're gonna like it. I would still recommend it to anyone, even if you do like spicy romantasy. I would still recommend it to you because it's just such a fun book. It is so easy to read. I got through it in like 2 or 3 days, with very little problem. Like I said, I started it late Sunday night and got through it tonight, which is Wednesday night. So yeah, very easy read. It's intimidating. It looks intimidating, I grant you that, but it's a very easy read. So I will, as usual, leave a description down in I will leave a link in the description down below, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.